Hello there, this is Donna, and today we're going to go over a common problem that you encounter during cleanup projects, or just when you go to the end of the month and you want to know, well, why is my income doubled and I have this number in undeposited funds? I know I deposited it all on my funds. Classic problem, right? Well, what can happen here is, in reality, uh, the accounts receivable clerk or somebody making the deposits and receiving payments may have booked them individually, or they may have just accepted the bank feeds and not matching a group deposit or individual deposit properly to anything sitting there in the receipts list. In the meantime, instead of going backwards and trying to edit potentially years of numbers sitting there, because you will get this when you do cleanup projects, you often will run into several years of undeposited funds values sitting there. And the easy way to correct that is to simply go right here to the plus key, okay, and go to make a bank deposit, right? Bank deposit. And we're going to choose the standard checking account that is most commonly used for your customer receivables, where they go. And all the funds that you receive, where is that bank account? Which one do you use for that? And in this example, I chose the end of the accounting period or month that we are using for the undeposited funds in this example. Okay, so I chose 4/30/2021. I go off and check off the receipts that are listed here. And that equals the amount of $2062.52 that we see in our undeposited funds account. Now the question here is, well, what do I put in the account field here? It's not going to be undeposited funds. It's not going to be accounts receivable, but instead it's going to be your most commonly used income account. So in this instance, I'm going to use, let's see, job materials. It's most commonly used income account. If you're not sure, you can ask your client, but try not to use a parent account if they have subaccounts. Okay. Always use a sub account. And in this example, I used one that most commonly was used. If you're not sure, you can create a special income account for this purpose, but I'd rather not confuse the client that you're working for or any bookkeepers that you're working with. Here in the description, I would put to clear undeposited funds, right? And then you can make a note that the bank account is reconciled. Otherwise, we wouldn't care, right? Because we could just go ahead and clean it up while we're doing that. But in our examples in cleanup projects, we don't want to touch the reconciliation because that's been reconciled for several years already, right? We might have had hundreds of these sitting here, maybe dating back from 2019. This example here, we just have 2021. And we're going to type in a negative value equally to what we're trying to correct. So here we go, minus 2,062.52, right? Why a negative? Because that's the amount that our income was double booked by having a deposit and a receipt. We only need to have one amount showing in our profit and loss, not two. One that they had received against earlier, which is right here, or the amount that's in the bank account. Either way, we know the funds have been deposited. So ultimately we hit save and close, boom. All right. The amount's recorded. We go back. We look at our undeposited funds value and it's now 0. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have several years to clean up like this, you can click on the date button and sort that. So here, if you had that to do by an example, I have none left right now, but if you had several dates, they'd be sitting here, and you can sort the dates and you can sort the amounts. But I always want to sort by date and do the oldest one first. And always do that. All the ones that you check off are going to be for the same month. And then make sure that the date on the top equals the last day of that month that you're cleaning up. Repeat until done and you're cleaned up. And there you go. You've got a beautiful undeposited fund account and your income is not double booked. Thank you for listening to me this afternoon. And this is Donna of DMC Business Services.